Hello everyone, Namaskaram. We all will agree that learning is the breath and soul of life. It starts from the very birth and continues till our last breath. Life without learning is meaningless. It's okay if we may or may not learn in bits and pieces. But it's very important that we learn from every single bit and piece. Because no one in this world knows everything. But everyone knows at least something. And after all, we know that something is always better than nothing. So, we must learn to learn from everything around us. That's the way of life. Dear learners, in the previous video, we had discussed about different kinds of motion. So, in today's video, we will discuss a few more of them. Next is non-periodic motion. So, as the name suggests, non-periodic motion is just the opposite of periodic motion. So, we can define it as a repetitive motion which repeats itself but not at fixed interval of time is called non-periodic motion. The similarity between periodic and non-periodic is that in both the cases the motion repeats itself. But the difference between periodic and non-periodic is that in non-periodic motion, the motion does not repeat at fixed interval of time, whereas in periodic motion, the motion repeats after a certain interval of time. Some examples of non-periodic motion are: first, a football player running in the field up and down is performing non-periodic motion. Why? Because sometimes he runs fast and sometimes slow. So here the footballer is repeating his motion. He is moving continuously but not at the same pace. Therefore, this is the example of non-periodic motion. Next example of non-periodic motion is when the brakes are applied to a moving vehicle, the motion described by the wheels is non-periodic, which means as the vehicle stops, it starts decreasing its speed. So this motion is also non-periodic. The third, motion of a bouncing ball that is under the influence of air friction and gravity is non-periodic, which means that when a ball bounces and there is sufficient friction and gravity, then the ball the bounce of the ball suddenly starts decreasing, and a time comes when the ball comes to a halt. It slows down and then becomes stationary. Since the bounce of the ball is decreasing, this motion is categorized as non-periodic. Next is random motion. So, as the name suggests, random means which occurs at any instant, which occurs randomly, means जो अचानक से हो जाए. An object which suddenly changes its motion from one kind to another kind is said to have a random motion. Some examples showing random motion are a flying kite, and the motion of a football or a hockey player on the ground. A flying mosquito. All these objects have no specific path and they change their motions suddenly. So, their motions are said to have a random motion. Next is uniform motion. To understand this, let us take an example. Suppose a car is moving along a straight line towards east, such that it covers a distance from point A to a point B in 1 second. Similarly, it covers distances B to C and then C to D and then D to E, each of 2 cm in every 1 second in a straight line. So we will say that the car is covering equal distance in equal intervals of time along the same straight line. So this motion which is described by the car is called uniform motion. So we can define uniform motion as if a body covers equal distance in equal intervals of time along the same straight line, then the body is said to be describing uniform motion. Similarly, a flying aeroplane in a particular direction at a constant speed is said to possess uniform motion. Also, a car moving straight in a particular direction at a constant speed also is describing uniform motion. Next and the last motion is non-uniform motion. To understand this, let us suppose another example. Suppose a car is moving along a straight line towards east, such that in the first second it covers a distance AB equals to 3 kilometers. Then suppose the car covers a distance from B to C, let it be 2 kilometers in the next second, and the distance C to D, suppose 5 kilometer in the next second. So here in this example we can see that the car is covering unequal distances in equal interval of time. हर एक सेकेंड में कार अलग अलग डिस्टेंस कवर कर रही है. So we say that the car is executing non-uniform motion. Similarly, a cyclist cycling on a busy street is describing a non-uniform motion. Why? Because since the street is very busy, he will not be able to move at a constant speed. Thereby, he will be said to be describing non-uniform motion. Next, when the brakes are applied to a fast-moving car, then the car describes a non-uniform motion. Why? Because here the car doesn't cover equal distance in equal interval of time. So, the motion of the car is said to be non-uniform. So with this, we come to the end of Unit 1 of this chapter. You have to read the chapter thoroughly and also learn the important points. Till our next video, keep learning. Just anything and everything. Thank you all for being here. Have a good day.